Everybody, Marcel Ernie Racing. Today's lead story, the U.S. okays more bombing in Gaza. That's right, guys. They are trying to stop the UN from interfering, saying that this is beyond reasonable genocide. The United States vetoed and UN Security Council called for a ceasefire in Gaza. Again, the U.S. was the only member to vote against this, but the U.K. abstained. Prince William did not abstain for calling for a ceasefire. Royals are not supposed to opine about politics, but His Royal Highness went out on a limb and released a statement saying, quote, "Too many have been killed in the conflict." He called for more humanitarian aid, the release of hostages, and, quote, "an end to the fighting as soon as possible." An Israeli spokesperson said this is in response, quote, "Israelis, of course, want to see an end to the fighting as soon as possible, and that will be possible once the 134 hostages are released and once the Hamas terror army threatening to repeat the October 7 atrocities is dismantled." It's like one of those impossible goals, because who is them, right? How are you going to dismantle them? Well, you want to occupy the whole country, take it over, it looks like. So, in other words, the answer is no, we're not stopping our course. The U.S. says that it is drafting its own UN Security Council resolution to call for a ceasefire. Sure, but as Anti-War puts it, quote, "The U.S. warning is meaningless since the Biden administration is not considering imposing any consequences on Israel if it invades Rafah and is still providing unconditional military support," end quote. To finish it off from antiwar.com, besides the military support, the U.S. has also given Israel political cover to continue the slaughter in Gaza. The U.S. has vetoed 2 resolutions at the Security Council for Israel so far and has dismissed the International Court of Justice's ruling that it's, quote, "plausible Israel is committing genocide in Gaza." Again, here, guys, it's news from antiwar.com. With the title here from February 13, U.S. gives Israel the green light to kill civilians in Rafah. And here's the Prince and Prince William here at Kensington Royal. "I remain deeply concerned about the terrible human cost of the conflict in the Middle East since the Hamas terrorist attack on October 7th. Too many have been killed. I, like so many others, want to see an end to the fighting as soon as possible. There is a desperate need for increased humanitarian support to Gaza. It's critical that aid gets in and hostages are released. Sometimes it is only when faced with the sheer scale of human suffering that the importance of permanent peace is brought home. Even in the darkest hour, we must not succumb to the counsel of despair. I continue to cling to the hope that a brighter future can be found, and I refuse to give up on that." The irony, guys, is I would put my $1,000 on a 100-1 bet that he didn't write that. I would love for him to try to rewrite that and show us how he did it. Oh yeah, and some of the comments, "Not your place, sir." And the next one, "You shouldn't be making political statements." Oh, hilarious. "A simple rule for a simple rule. Stay out of politics." As a royalist, I must say I'm deeply disappointed in your involvement in politics. I seriously think you need to be much more familiar with a few facts. Israelis were massacred by Hamas. And now we have a full-on one-way war. They have every right to fight back. This is not fighting back. Yes, we understand what happened, but now you're allowing a full invasion. The irony is unbelievable. Hamas has vowed to keep attacking Israel. Oh, yeah. It kind of reminds me of the false flag of 9/11. Oh, let's invade an entire country. And there was no like, even if the planes really did cause those buildings to go down and their whole false flag narrative was actually true, even from that, we're going to invade and destroy an entire country, blah, 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 blah. What was that, Iraq or was it Afghanistan? It's funny how these two get so mixed up. The irony and the super irony here is like, this comment, and then we can talk about it. "You really learned nothing from the late Queen. Stay out of politics. You've done enough damage to the monarchy already. Your association with the criminal WEF also speaks volumes about the level of betrayal you've inflicted on the Brits." So I haven't followed this princes and kings because I think that's all bullshit. I think they should be dismantled, sure. But and he's the associated with the WEF. We know King Charles is like such a fool and pushing the environmental WEF destroying of the world. But in the case of, it's like, then Ukraine, did these royals support the Ukrainians being slaughtered by the U.S. proxy war instigated against Putin and the 2014 coup that set it all up for the people in eastern region, like the Donbass region, being bombed since the coup that was puppeteered from the U.S. government to have Ukraine be, and then have all the U.S. proxy, essentially all their battleships, all of their military bases set up all along Russia, putting pressure on the military industrial complex for a future war. And that's just a quick little summary. So, what side of that narrative are the monarch on? And then all of a sudden, so some people, they COVIDism, they understand COVIDism, they understand the U.S. propagated this a lot, and how it's all, the fake P and the medical, giving away our rights and totalitarian authoritative rule. And this is like the slide for going to the dictator rule side. And then, so then they understand, that they're all lied to. It's all one big lie, the mandates and everything to have total control, to take away your rights, just like any false flag, like the Homeland Security Act, the Patriot Act from 9/11, another bomb that you give away your rights, so because the government's going to save you when you suckle at their tit, right? And they then enslave you. And then so people understand that, and then they fall into the next trap about Ukraine, thinking that Russia wasn't doing a special military operation, that they had no right to be there, that it was a total genocide of an invasion. Like, that's what they think from the media. So they understand that they're completely lied to about COVIDism. And then they fall right back into the next military industrial complex lie about Ukraine. There's nothing is gained from Ukraine except for 1 million Ukrainian men dead, and they've lost everything. And this is all funneled by the U.S., who doesn't give a crap about any Ukrainian men or women or people or land. And now BlackRock buys up all the land. I mean, you could just go on and on and on about this. And just funneling war. It's the perpetual war. War is peace. It's never ending, guys, and they want it that way. And now you have the Israeli war. And the irony is people who maybe understood COVIDism, and then they told me I'm an idiot for supporting Russia in the Ukraine thing. And then they eventually understand what happens in Ukraine. And then they fall right back into the next thing about Israel, not realizing that it's the military complex again. And Israel is funding this war supported by the USA and the G7 countries. More war, more death. For what? Well, now they actually are taking territory of the Gaza. And, everyone wants to fight about the history. Well, you got to look back at the history as well. And the ironies just keep going, guys, and the rant keeps going. And it's like you could be this person, you could be these people being bombed. And you have nothing to do with the politics of your Biden, your Trudeau, or your Nafasu, or whatever. You got your guys in Israel and Gaza. It's not you. You are citizens dying from the military-industrial complex. You suffer. The politicians never suffer. They make money, they make deals, they get rich, and they take dominance and they control power. And that's what's happening right now. And then there'll be people in the video, I support Israel. What do you support? You support war? You support never-ending war? You support having innocent people killed? Yes, the Hamas attacked. We're all kind of agreeing with that. That did happen. But how much of it is it a false flag? Well, how much was 9/11 a false flag? Well, completely. But so was there any Biden attacking the USA or Joe Biden? What am I saying? My Bin Laden. Do you understand that there was no planes of Bin Laden people attacking the USA? It's all instigated themselves. The buildings were brought down, guys. Building 7 was brought down. Everything, all the evidence was shuffled away and shipped away. They were completely detonated, controlled demolitions. This is easy. No steel building has ever fallen from fire. The buildings of metal are rated for fire temperatures and well above. They're designed for planes hitting them. There was nobody on those planes. They were driven into there. And if you understand this and you fall right back into the next lie about perpetual war, well, around in circles you go. You just never learn. Ernie Racing News.